All right, I want to start making this video about things I had to do because when I first started all this, I had questions, and so I hope this video helps some people. It's not going to help everybody, but it'll help some. Now, we all know that if you've been doing this for a little bit, you know that there are three different levels or three different depths to these LS motors: the Corvette, F-body, and GTO, and then the truck. These is currently set up. This was a truck motor, but I have an F-body water pump and F-body pulley on here. So I have a Corvette AC or alternator bracket with the pump on it, which I had to get a spacer. This is a Holley spacer. I don't remember the name of it right now. To run all this for it to all line up correctly. Even this part right here. So I don't have any problem with it throwing any belts because right now it's all lined up based on a F-body style pump and crank. All right. The problem I have with this, and that I want to go over, is that I'm also running a Hydro Boost, if I can remember the name. So Hydro Boost, at one time when I teed it off together, it came out of there. The low pressure side, it teed into the low pressure side of the power steering, and then went back into the reservoir that used to sit right here, went back into that, and then this would pull from the reservoir. I would have problems with it whining or if I was sitting at idle. The tires aren't huge. I'm gonna say the 9-inch. But it would still pull as I was going trying to turn it. So someone suggested to get one of these. It's a remote reservoir, right? It holds more fluids, has a much larger outlet to it. And so that's what I ended up doing, right? Because what it's doing is because the Hydro Boost is trying to tee in directly in line with the power steering that was fighting itself to get back into the reservoir. So now both of them will flow, or this will pump right into the Hydro Boost. The Hydro Boost will pump, has 3 lines. This one is going to go, not exactly sure what it is. It's like an overflow or excess because it's not under pressure, but it goes right back to this part right here. And this line, one part goes around here to the power steering. Problem's that. I come out of the power steering and I go into a cooler, comes out of the cooler, goes into here, and then starts out life over again, goes out and into here. This is a 12AN. Why it's so large, I don't know. In hindsight, I would have necked this down to a 10 and just gone because this is a 10 on here. And also the power steering pump I had before was just a cheap one I got from eBay. Could also been my problem. But this one here, I actually spent the money to get a better one, which came with a larger inlet. But I necked it up to get to a 12, and I already have all the parts, so I'm not going to convert all this back down to a 10. So I'm running with what I got. But this, because it was so large here, I ended up having to cut this bracket. Usually there's a part that goes between these 2 bolts here. I had to cut that out because this was interfering with it. So as it sits now, right? Oh, and also the pulley sits awfully close. I know some, which I actually had to get a smaller pulley. This is not the original pulley that was on the original one. So I ended up having to do a little bit of research and ended up coming with this one. So it's just slightly smaller. It gives me just enough room that it's not rubbing the belt or anything, and I haven't had any problems. I can actually get the belt on and off with it being that close. But it is close, right? But it doesn't touch. So that's the main part. And this comes out in such a way that the belt goes right underneath here, underneath this part here, and then back up in here. So it clears it all. So now I shouldn't have any problems with it pulling fluid and pushing it back to the Hydro Boost or the power steering I have a cooler that's in the front, and this thing is huge. So that's how the setup is now. And this does not sit here. It sits actually on the radiator core. It's on a little spot. But that's the update on the power steering and the Hydro Boost and how I have all this set up.